Ladies and gentlemen, my name is ChromeDrake and I'm here today to bring you a video that I had no idea I would be doing anytime soon. We are doing a preview of Ashes of the Singularity, which is a grand-scale, real-time strategy game developed by Oxide Games in collaboration with Stardock Entertainment, and if all things go well, it'll be fully released sometime next year. It's a real-time strategy that very much wears its influences on its sleeve. In fact, even the developers say that a huge inspiration for Ashes of the Singularity is Supreme Commander, and you'll also find a fair bit of Sins of a Solar Empire, as some of the Sins of a Solar Empire devs are working on the game, and you'll find just a hint, just a soupçon of Company of Heroes stroke Dawn of War. A little bit of that victory, of that sort of point control VP gameplay is in here. As you can see here with this darling little box that pops up every time you launch the game. Ashes of the Singularity is in early access and launched on October the 22nd. This is a pre-beta version. We don't really know what happened to Alpha, we don't really talk about it apparently, but the graphics and gameplay are still very much in flux. This build will probably kill your pets and wreck your computer. We're looking for your input on gameplay, bugs and compatibility. Please send feedback to the below, and I'm sure I will leave a link to the Ashes of the Singularity game site in the details below if you want to have a look at it. So really, this is a work in progress. This is the first thing we need to get out of the way. Work in progress game. This is not indicative of the final product. Things will change. There are bugs, features are missing, gameplay modes are missing. There's only one race so far, all this sort of stuff, and that will be added, you know, as we go into this. Now, I do also want to stress that this is also a fully funded game. Whether or not they get your early access money, the game is happening. The only reason they are doing an early access is to get player feedback. So, in this stage, they're really after hardcore RTS veterans and hardware enthusiasts to get the feedback they need to make this game as good as possible. Also, it says on the Steam page, which sounds pretty promising to me. And finally, the last disclaimer I'm going to give before we sort of crack on with all this is that the good people at Stardock emailed me and said, would you like a key to do a preview? And of course I said yes, which oddly enough is why we're here. But full disclaimer, I got my key code for free. I'm not affiliated with them, but I just thought that you guys should know. Okay, so with all that being said, here we are on the title screen obviously, but there are just one or two things I feel the need to witter about before we get into the game proper. The first of those things is this is the first title that I know of, personally, that is going to be launching on the DirectX 12. Is it an API? I don't really know. I mean, you know, whatever. But it's going to be launching on DirectX 12, so there's a whole host of new features, including the now infamous asynchronous computing and whatnot that this game takes advantage of. I'm running on the DirectX 12 mode client. You can also launch on DirectX, I don't know what it would be, 10 or 11, whatever the other one is that they're using. So that's all fine. However, this also ties into the other part that you require to run this game, and this is an absolute requirement. This is not a minimum requirement or anything of the like. This is you need to have at least a quad-core processor that is 64-bit capable. If you have a 32-bit processor or you do not have a quad-core, you will not be able to run this game because they're taking advantage of the 64-bit technology for the extra memory, for the extra processing power to do more things, you know, larger maps, more units on the screen at once, you know, multi-threading, all that sort of stuff. Which also ties in to what I want to talk about with performance. So this game has become slightly infamous, or has sparked a somewhat infamous debate on the internet for the last few months, that people have been saying, oh, well, NVIDIA aren't ready for DirectX 12. And the simple answer to that is, I don't know. NVIDIA say that they are. We've seen that the functionality for DirectX 12, even asynchronous computing, is in their graphics cards, but, as you can see here on the benchmark, I'm using an NVIDIA graphics card. However, they do not have driver support yet for DirectX 12. If you are an AMD user, you should be able to play this game, and with any luck, you should be seeing, you know, on the DirectX 12 version compared to the DirectX 11 version, a huge performance boost. And you can actually download the benchmark for free, I believe, still from the Ashes of the Singularity website, to test all that stuff out. However, for somebody in my position on, as you see here, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970, in actual fact in SLI, but there's no SLI profile yet, so it doesn't matter. I've got a beefy machine, and you'll also see that I'm running, well, perhaps you can't see here, but I'm actually running currently in their mid-range profile, because I found that gave me the best performance. Now, when I was working on the high profile, I tried the benchmark. It was all a bit odd, because I was averaging 37 FPS, constantly, and that only dropped 4 frames when my computer was under heavy load. The CPU performed brilliantly. My graphics card was like, what? Literally, that's how it came across. So I'm running this on medium because I get 50 frames per second out of it. It's just more comfortable for me to do. I can run high, no problem. 30 FPS is fine to play an RTS like this. You know, if you want to do that, go ahead very quickly into the options menu. Not many game options yet. We do, however, have a whole host of video options for your scaling pleasure, though I don't know how well it scales. You know, this is a pre-beta, as they like to call it, so be aware. And we've got separate sliders for audio, music, effects. Brilliant. Okay, that's great. All wonderful. So, what don't we have? We don't have Ascendancy War. This was what I assume will be the campaign. Multiplayer, I've not really looked at yet. If we just go back, as you can see, there's going to be a metaverse, which is very, Stardock usually does have that in their games. Ranked matches, I've been told there are going to be seasons, ranked seasons of play. But there are no multiplayer games yet. This is very new. I'm not sure how many people have really got round to getting their hands on it. So I've not tried it. I don't know how stable the multiplayer is. I have seen a couple of games up there, but yeah, that's not happened yet. So let's see what we have in single player. Well, in single player we have 8 maps to choose from, which is not bad. As you can see, coming soon are the Ice Worlds and the Night maps. We can have up to 6 players per map. And we do have AI. We don't have AI profiles yet, so if you want an AI that's very aggressive, favours, I don't know, air units, or, likes a turtle, that is coming, I think. We don't have that yet. However, we have a whole host of different AI options. And also, you'll notice on the Steam page for this game that they are talking about the fact the AI taking advantage of the 64-bit processing will actually be very fair, much more fair than a lot of AIs have been that have needed sort of boosts and bonuses just to match a human player. However, I have had a little go on Insane, and it does seem that just to add that little extra added difficulty spike, they are still giving the AI bonuses, so that's not to say they're not there, but however, having played several skirmishes now on both easy and normal, and I've won quite handily, but the AI did seem fairly competent, which was great. It's flanking me, it was responding to what I was doing. I was overall had quite a satisfying experience. I still won fairly easily. So that's wonderful. Now, two things I would like to point out, or a few things I'd like to point out. We have some different options down here, map terrain, neutral defenders, which are an interesting feature. That's very Sins of Solar Empire-like, and we'll get into that. And we've also got victory points. Again, we'll get into that. So far, I've just used the map default. Now, if you needed any hint that this game is sort of nodding to Supreme Commander, let me show you this. Now, this map layout here should be instantly recognizable to any Supreme Commander aficionado. Even if you've touched on the game and played Skirmish, this map should be very familiar indeed. Obviously, there will be an ocean on the Supreme Commander version, that is coming. However, this raises a little problem that I have in the current state of the game, and then I thought, oh, that's awesome, I'm going to try, 2 teams of 3 on this map is going to be fantastic. Now, you would have thought, logically speaking, that would have put our starting positions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, say, on the map. It didn't, so it was actually a bit of a, to put it politely, a bit of a fustuck, where I actually started on this landmass over here with an ally and an enemy, and of course my other ally had 2 enemies to contend with. So, yeah, that's not working. I would like to see a feature so that we can actually set our starting positions. I think that's pretty critical. Obviously, I'm sure they've just simply not worked their way around to it yet. Now, I'm going to stop whittling. We're actually going to get into some gameplay. We're going to play on the map Deneb. We're going to play... well, first of all, I'm actually going to put this against a beginner AI, because I want the leeway to be able to show you guys, what the game is all about, the different units, how the game plays, and then partway through, I'm going to jump cut into a proper game against a normal AI that I will have already had in progress, so that I can show you the combat. And the reason I'm doing that is that this game is very, very slow paced, because this game, as we will find out, is much more about the macro than it is about the micro. Basically, you will not be micromanaging unit abilities. It's more a case of, where do you build units, where do you put them to be able to flank your enemies, and that sort of stuff. It's a much slower pace than something like StarCraft. So it does feel quite Supreme Commander-like, but again, like I said, it's got that sort of slight feeling of Sins of Solar Empire. So without further ado, we are going to get into the game. Here we go. Hello everybody. Yeah, well you may have just noticed a cut in the video there. However, I want to stress that I didn't actually edit that loading screen in any way, shape or form. That is how fast this game loads. Bearing in mind I'm on an SSD, but whoa, that's fast. So this is what we're going to be greeted with when we get into the game. Obviously we've got our units, we've got our production queues, we've got our minimap, we've got our, whatever selected. If I select my engineer, you can see we've got our buildings, resources, sort of logistics, and we've also got VPs, which I'll get into in a minute. But one thing you'll probably be familiar with almost from the off is that this is going to be exceedingly Supreme Commander-like. Now, if I, select my engineer here, I get a metal extractor. These are metal deposits. I can queue up my metal extractors. Wow, isn't that familiar? So that's good. I'm going to set my base, double tap Q, and I've queued up a couple of engineers, so there is a queue. And also immediately, if you actually look over here, you'll notice that just like Supreme Commander, this uses a streaming economy. So if this is the type of RTS you like to play, well, hey, great, right? But don't fret. If you think this is going to be like a Supreme Commander knockoff, it's not. Just let me get there. But let's just go through what we've got here, and while I'm talking I'm just going to queue up a unit factory so that I can talk about that in a bit as well. But yeah, we've got two resources, we've got metal and radioactives. There isn't like an energy equivalent in this game, which I found a bit bizarre because it meant I could pretty much spam out buildings, which I don't think are tied into the unit logistics. I could just spam out buildings with no issue whatsoever, provided I had the metal income, which I'm not entirely comfortable with, but that's another story. But yeah, so metal is for your basic buildings, radioactives are for your higher tier units, technically kind of like your tier 2 stuff, kind of, but effectively radioactives are harder to come by on the map than metals, which seems to be the general way of things. On our mini map down here, we can see that the map is connected by a series of nodes. Now, aside from giving you a general idea of the paths you could take through the map, I'm not entirely sure what the nodes do for you. I don't know if you need a point, on a linked path to give you resources. I really don't know how this works, because if I click on any of the buildings at the minute, you can see, although I get text on the, on what the building is outfitted with, I don't really have any. There's no help text. It doesn't tell me exactly what this power generator does. But this is a neutral building, but on the minimap we can see that we have nodes. This node here is a radioactive site. The square node are for metals, and the triangular nodes are for Trinium generators. Now, Trinium generators are where that Dawn of War / Company of Heroes thing sort of kicks in, where that feeling kicks in. Because if I were to capture more of these on the map than my opponent, and you can see we're very evenly sort of distributed, well, fairly evenly distributed anyway, then I will start to gain VPs, but only if I have more than my opponent. And if I go up to 2,000 VPs, I win the game. So this is an alternate victory point method. If you don't like it, you could turn it off. You can customize it, as you saw in the in the skirmish setup, or alternatively, I can just go over to my enemy's base and blow the living hell out of it and completely ignore VPs altogether. So both gameplay modes are currently open to you. I don't know if there'll be more victory conditions in the future. So far, this is what we have. Okay, so I like the minimap. The minimap is a good feature. We can sort of zoom around, click around, we can see where the engineers are. That's all well and good. Let's just queue up some. Now you can see that I can set a rally point, although it doesn't appear for very long. If I hold down the shift key, it actually does. That's great. But I'm going to queue up some scouts, and I'm going to start taking some of these nodes to show you guys how that works, how that looks. And in the meantime, I'm also going to build a second factory, just so I can show a little bit of, this bits and bobs off in the future. Now, graphically, it's not, it's not bad. Noted, I do have this on medium settings, that needs to be said, but we can zoom out, and the detail really doesn't diminish at all. That's very impressive. However, if you're a Supreme Commander aficionado, you will also think, hang on a minute, you zoomed out, and where on earth's my map with my awesome, with my awesome icons that tells me what on earth these little diddly little units actually are? That's a fine question. I don't know if they're going to add one, but there are things that make me think they're going to add one. In the meantime, there is a sort of a workaround, and these units are going to get trashed. In the meantime, there is a sort of a workaround where I do have a strategic map. If I hold down the spacebar, I get a much more extended map, and you can see the territories and what they represent here, which is an interesting feature. However, you'll also notice that these units, I've got no idea whatsoever what they are. Now, I don't know if Stardock is going to do something unique with this, and Oxide Games. These guys really are getting owned. I'm just going to create another scout here so that I can go in for a proper assault. And while we're at it, we'll queue up our radioactives, whatever it is, our radioactives extracted there, to get that all sorted out. Now, I don't know if Stardock is going to alter this in the future. Like I said, there are some things that make me think that they might. But you have this for now. It's not great. It's not wonderful. Also, one of my other gripes, before I forget about it, that I'm going to pull up right now, is that I find it very, very hard to... there is no button currently for me to select an idle engineer. And I find engineers quite hard and quite fiddly to control. I can't hotkey back to my base, then set a rally point for engineers. I've got to click back, select the base, and then queue up the engineer. So there are things that I'm sure they're gonna work out. That are not quite sorted out yet. Okay, but anyway, let's get onto the units. Let's talk about this. So we do have a build queue. I'm gonna start building. Let's queue up some archers. Let's queue up some brutes. I can put this on repeat, and the queues will constantly cycle, which is a nice feature. The units, I can group them. So these guys are currently group 1. I'm gonna bring them over here. There's other stuff you can do with the units as well, and I will get into that when it is more appropriate to do so. I'm just gonna get some more generators over here. So these nodes are very much sins of... Just before I go on with the units, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. These nodes are very sins of a solar empire in that you actually saw there are neutral units around the nodes which kind of slow your progress down. Now, of course, we can turn that off. It's not something you need to play with if you really don't want to. But again, the pacing of this game is quite slow. It's quite a macro-heavy game. But I'll get back to that. I am really getting sidetracked. So let's have a look at the units. The units are split into effectively, in quote-unquote Supreme Commander talk, 3 tiers. We have frigates. And we've got scouts, we've got sort of light rocket frigates, long-range frigates, basically. Brutes, which are armoured short-range frigates, and we've got medics. We also have our cruisers, which sort of form the core backbone, if you like. They take a lot longer to build, so we'll just build an Artemis and, let's say, a Zeus here. And they take a lot more resources, but they are there. And where are my units? I'm just going to take this thing over yonder, so we'll just queue that up. And the engineer's finished. So the cruisers are all very well and good, and in point of fact, I need another... Come down here, you. I haven't quite finished with you yet. Just get an advanced factory up so I can build that. So we got a long-range artillery cruiser, anti-air and anti-drone cruiser, an anti-Titan sniper cruiser, which is basically against dreadnoughts and your larger units, and your Zeus. And we'll look into the other stuff. My engineers also got an array of stuff they can build. They can build factories, sky factories for air units, advanced factories, your generators, and quantum relays, which is sort of like research. You've got a whole host of defences here that can just be plopped down, very much Total Annihilation, Supreme Commander-like, radar dishes, short-range, missile systems. We've got Sentinel turrets, which are effective against the heavier tier of units. We got AA cannons, drone bays which unleash swarms of drones that are murder to deal with if you don't have AA in your unit composition, and a repair bay. That's fine. And we've also got orbitals. Now, if you imagine earlier when I said, well, we can't zoom out very far, I suspect this might be the reason. I just think it's not implemented yet. The orbitals are all coming soon, so there will be an orbital layer to this game, along with the ground and the sky layers. So that's going to be interesting to see how that develops, and hopefully we'll see that sometime either... maybe early next year, I don't know, maybe later on this year, I don't know what their release schedule is. So we've got a whole host of units sort of queuing up here. And we can also see, while this is building, we have dreadnoughts. So we don't really have a tier system like you do in Supreme Commander, which I find is quite interesting. I'm not going to build anything from here yet, we'll get into the main game to do that. What we do instead is it's more like the fleet system from Sins of a Solar Empire. So, as in any RTS, I can grab all these units here, I can press Control 3, oh and look, they're grouped up. So I can move them around, I can do whatever. However, what I can also do is if I press the V key, V for Victor, I can group them into an army. So what does this do? Why is this different? Well, basically, I think this is what the meat of the game is going to come down, is how you compose your units. So by grouping this unit into an army, what I've effectively done is turned it into a singular super unit. And what we can see here is I've got my armoured sort of cruisers and frigates up front, and it's automatically arranged my long-range units and my long-range artillery in the back, and these guys will now move in this formation. You know, medics will, if I had some in here, they would come and heal the units that were needed. So this functions as one super unit with lots of multiple component parts, and while I've not seen this so much in the single player against the AI, I imagine in multiplayer a huge amount of the strategy in this game will come down to how your unit compositions fare against your opponents. And if your opponent is capable of seeing what units you've got in your comp, he can then probably build a counter to it. So, you know, if you've got a very heavily armoured comp, he might have a, you know, sort of a rough front line, but then he might tackle you with drones if you've not got any anti-air support, or he might just hit you. He might tie you up with a short-range army, and then just finish you off with a long-range group. So this game, on that basis, is not StarCraft. As I've said before, it's not StarCraft based. It's heavily macro based. These armies do not move quickly, and there's a hell of a lot of ground to cover in this game. So what this is going to boil down to is how you build your units, your build orders, where you put your defensive lines, where you want to create, you know, bottlenecks and chokeholds, and where you are going to send your armies, you know, to flank your opponent, to generally surprise them. The maps are huge. I mean, this is one of the smallest maps I've seen, and so there's plenty of opportunities to flank and get some really, you know, surprising maneuvers off. So obviously scouting, just like in every other RTS, is going to be incredibly important. But that is the meat and core of the gameplay, and of course, so as I said, the cruisers kind of form the backbone, however, and the battleships pretty much define what your army composition is going to be. So that is the crux of the gameplay. There are a couple of things I would really like to point out at this juncture, is that, for instance, take this unit comp. I haven't got a frigging clue what's on this unit comp. I really don't know. I mean, I can zoom in all the way, but that's not practical in combat. I can zoom out. Nope, can't see anything. It's not really even on the tactical map. It's just a great big red blob. It is a blob. And we can see here, oh, we're actually fighting against, I don't know if these are neutral to the AI, but we can see here the units doing their thing. The brutes are up front with a short-range fire. We got our missiles in back, with providing the long-range support, and this thing is just beaming its way to victory. Like I said, it all looks very impressive. It's nice. Yeah, but anyway, so I've got no way of knowing what is actually in this unit comp. I just, you know, from that point, they really need to give more feedback into the game. Also, another thing that annoys me, and they are aware of this, they are putting it in, I cannot double-click a unit. See, I can't double-click a unit, select all units of that type, or I don't think can I control A? I can't control A to select all units on the screen. That's a function that's needed. That also makes using air units very, very difficult, because I can't just go, oh, my air units are, you know, I rallied them over here, I want the bombers, double-click, I've got all of them, and we'll go and bomb something. I can't do it. You know, there's no way for me to actually have that happen yet. It will come. It will come. Air units I found are very expensive from my experience, and because I can't manage them, I've tended not to use them thus far much at all. You can see that we got waypoints in. Waypoints are fine. I think I've accidentally set myself permanently on an attack move there, which is not quite what I wanted to do. Yeah, I have. Whatever. Anyway. So, there's all that stuff. Also, another thing is if I press D, I can add a waypoint to where they're moving. However, the waypoint looks like they're going to move here, right? Well, no, it has actually added the waypoint, you know, to this, you know, onto the queue. So that's also a bit weird. So the waypoint system is a little odd. I mean, if I shift-click, it's absolutely fine. If I hold down shift, I can actually see other information. There is some additional information as well, is that I can see the ranges of my units if I hold down Alt. And also, it's not just range in this game, it is also line of sight. I believe the actual gunfire and whatnot is simmed. If they can't see the units, enemy units behind the terrain, they cannot hit them. Very quickly on that note as well, if I just grab one of my engineers, wherever it might happen to be, my defenses currently are a bit awkward to use, because, for instance, the Smarty system, I have no clue what the range is on this. The drones, however, I have a range indicator of how far the drones can move away from base. Why is this the only one, Stardock? Okay, I mean, granted, they probably just not got around to putting it in yet. It doesn't make playing the game all that easy, because I don't know exactly what my defenses are going to do. What else? Just two other points. From my point of view, if I was researching right now, I've got no way of knowing exactly how fast my research is. Obviously, more research buildings, the faster I go. It doesn't seem like buildings that I construct, in fact we can test this, but it really doesn't seem like buildings I construct add to my unit queue. So I'm just gonna stop this queue if I can. This is also a very awkward thing to do. It does it with the right mouse button, which I find a bit unintuitive. Well, it's kind of intuitive, but not all at the same time. You'd have to play it to understand that one. I'm just curious about whether or not this is going to add to the queue. Okay, so as we can see, we're back. The building did not add to the queue. So, whereas in, you know, Supreme Commander and Planetary Annihilation, Total Annihilation, you had the energy system, which sort of dictated, now you can't go crazy with your buildings. On this one, there is nothing stopping me from just spamming buildings everywhere. So I don't know if they've got, you know, I don't know if there's going to be a plan in the future to stop that. I don't know. Finally, the other thing I'd like is that, as, you know, this is a personal preference thing, I would like to know exactly how much metal income I'm making even when I'm producing units, because as you can see, we can't see now what my maximum is. This is a personal preference. I'm sure other people might want this, but it would be nice, even if I could just hover over and just go, oh, right, I've got plus 200 metal and plus 50 radioactives, 5 minutes into the game, I'm not doing too badly. It's extra information. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting extra information. It's fine. Logistics seems to work. You have got a research system, and I won't really bother going into that now. So, at this point, I pretty much showed off everything I want to show off. That took a while. So I'm gonna play through the first part of the game off camera, and I'm gonna jump back into it when I'm in a position to get a whole host of units going. You know, when I can actually start to push out my battleships, my dreadnoughts, and we'll see how this all works. When we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of combat, I'm probably going to do a terrible job because I'll be commentating at the same time, but I hope you enjoy. So I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. See you in a moment. Hello guys, I just wanted to jump in here. So I've kind of got the start of the game underway. I'm sort of scouting with my units. I've been capturing a whole heap of the metal extractors, and I'm just sort of working on some of the other generators as well, claiming as much territory as I possibly can before I meet up with the AI. So I'm claiming things with my engineers and all sorts. We've got an advanced factory down here, and we've got a huge army here that I really do need to do something with, and we're probably going to just make these Control 4, and we're just going to bring them up here. I don't really care about them being an army at the moment, but we can see that the AI is pushing out in this general direction. I've also got some engineers. Right, so we'll get to Group 3. We'll see if we can actually claim this down here. What's Group 1 doing? You're fighting down there. Okay, that's fine. And we'll bring these engineers up and see if we can actually get some defences sorted out. So this is where I am. This is where I am starting the game. I'm obviously got my armies coming. I need to build a second factory. I've just noticed this. So I can start pumping out some cruisers. But yeah, I will be back when we've actually got some proper big wars sorted out. And we've actually run into a combat here, so I'm going to keep rolling just for a moment. And you see, we've got neutral spawning and we've got an enemy army. They've already got cruisers out, so I'm actually going to back these guys right off. Right off indeed. And we are going to need to take care of those very quickly. Indeed, I'm just going to get some defences down. There we go. We might want a bit more than that as well. I see. I'm just gonna spam some buildings, and we probably are gonna want a repair bay over here. I have a horrible suspicion my engineers are about to get totaled. So yeah, that's going to be a thing. So I'm just going to get this all under control, and I will be right back, everybody. Won't be long at all. See you in a sec. Okay guys, so things aren't going so well, but I'm just going to let the game run from here. I think I'm at a fairly interesting point now. The enemy is being very aggressive. I've not known the normal AI to be quite this aggressive before. So right now I'm actually just trying to run a bit of damage control. We shall have to see what happens. I'm losing my radioactives. This is not good. We're building our capital ship / dreadnought here. We're trying to sort... Oh, no, you take care of that engineer. I don't want that smart system coming up behind us. That will not be appreciated at all. Okay, that's great. And hopefully this is an attack we can sort out, and I can actually stabilise where we are currently. Right, these units are dying. That's not good. What are we going to do about it? Don't know. Right, let's just get some smart systems down. Let's get a drone bay down if we can manage it. They're probably going to catch us. However, as you can see here, we are actually managing to stabilise. That's wonderful. Let's take this group up here. Group 4, and we do have a lot more units coming. I'm just going to wait until our battleship is built, and at that point we're good. We've got a load of technology. Oh, wow, metal is draining fast. We're going to get some unit health, and we're going to get some weapon damage. That will help immensely. This is going to become our new Group 1 in the flesh, and we'll now stand a much, much better chance of sorting this out and actually getting this all stabilised. I'm going to need quite a few engineers up here. What are you doing, engineer? You're not doing much. You can, however, go and get that for me. Hopefully we're not going to get flanked from the north. Now we can see those beam weapons coming out from the cruisers there. So this group, again, is sacrificed. I did a very poor job. I did a very, very poor job of starting this. And as you can see here, our engineers here are about to get destroyed. However, the drone bay is online, so the drones might be able to do something. We don't know. Group 2, what are you doing? Tell you what, Group 2, attach yourselves to Group 1. Become part of that unit. That's good. And the second unit that appears here, I say we need to get our metal stabilised drastically at this moment in time. It's hurting. The economy is definitely hurting. Seems like those drones might have actually just cleared out the opposing forces. So like I say, drones can pack a serious wallop if you let them. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that this is now neutral, and this is now creating units that I don't want them to create. We are battling up here. Yes, indeed, but this should be sorted. Look at the firepower on that battleship. And this is going to be sorted out in short order. We'll recapture this generator, and then we'll be accruing a darn sight more VPs, and we can see that we definitely have the economic and military strength dominance. I quite like the fact that you can see that. I don't know if you can't see that if the map goes dark, but anyway, so we're just going to grab these units here. This is going to be our new Group 2. We're going to army those up, and we're going to send these against this force here that's trying to really do a bit of damage. Not happy with these guys. Now, we got a generator. Yeah, we do need some more metal. They have actually screwed us over with metal up here. So when these guys get sorted out, that would be really good, guys. Could do with that soon. In fact, we're going to have to bring one back. As you can see, they're actually getting... Long-range units are actually trying to do the damage here. Though I don't think they're going to have a lot of success. Though it would be nice, it would be very nice if my cruisers weren't getting absolutely blown to smithereens. Alright, we'll just have to see how this goes. So we do have a... Yeah, these engineers are wiped. These engineers are very much wiped. Can I really do with that second battleship at this point? I'm not doing a lot of scouting, it's true. Really, this is just AI gameplay and me being very, very poor at this game at the moment. I've had much better games than this, I assure you. But still, so what are you doing? You're still going to attack over there. So we really are being nailed by several groups at once. However... Whoops! Hey, what were you doing there? However, we have... The Dreadnought, he has come out to play, so we should be able to sort this out very quickly. We're actually going to send our number 1 group down over here. In fact, we're going to send a 1 group down to flank, see if we can actually catch them in the crossfire. That would be a very sensible thing to do. And while I'm at it, I do want a couple more engineers, because I really am going to need these metal deposits back as quickly as possible. We are hurting right now on the for metal. The AI's got a huge economic advantage, and he's now hurting our radioactives, I think, or he might be. So yeah, this isn't good. So number 2, go up here, secure me some metal. Group 1, you can see that the actual battleships, when they're in the group, they travel very, very slowly. For some scouting purposes, you don't want these big, epic units. The movement will hurt you a great deal. This engineer should be going down very, very quickly. Yep, there it goes. Okay, so we're just going to have these guys coming down, recapturing. Coming up and recapturing. Have I got my engineers? My engineers? Yeah, the metal shortage is screwing us over there. This engineer over here is actually doing quite well. Good job. Good job indeed. So we'll sit you there for now. Do we have any more engineers? We have an engineer here. Right, you're not really very useful, are you there, buddy, at the moment? So we'll go and claim this metal. We should have another couple of engineers here. Yep, like I say, I lose track of them. I lose track of them very easily because I don't have a little display saying, "You've got idle engineers, mate. You might want to do something about that." So it would help. It would drastically help. So let's go and see if we can actually cut off a bit more of our opponent's economy. We're still in the lead unit-wise. Great. We seem to have our metal back online. That's a wonderful thing. So we'll get these dreadnought. These engineers. We're actually at logistics cap, and I've only just noticed. I hate the fact that this is up here along with research. I never bloody look at it. So we'll just increase our maximum units. We are going to. Don't really need metal storage at the minute. To be honest, if you've got a lot of metal storage, maybe you're doing it wrong. That's the general consensus that we get from Supreme Commander and things like that. Yep. We're doing quite well here. We've got a scout unit here. Don't really need the scout unit. But the scout unit will go over here and see what there is to see. Alright, this engineer, I'm going to want you to coming up. I'm going to want you to queue up these metal deposits. 1, you're under attack. What are you shooting? 1. Okay, not much. That's fine. I'm still earning VPs, so that's okay too. Where's my engineer here? Right, okay, there you are. So I'm going to want you to queue this up. And then once you've queued that up, I'm going to want you over here. You, I'm also going to want over here. Speaking of engineers... We are going to need some more engineers over here to build up the defences. I'm going to need to hold this point. 2, you are going to carry on to the... I wouldn't be surprised if the AI has already put a lot of defences around this particular refinery point. Wouldn't be surprised at all. I'm actually very tempted... We've got an engineer here. I'm very tempted to build a factory back here a bit and actually churn out some units so I can capture the areas, well, basically around here on the map, these territories. That would be great if I could do that. Yes, as I said, they do have a fair few smart defences. So it might be worth... I'm just going to capture this point, be cheeky. And then I'm just going to pull these units back until I can reinforce them. Until I've actually got a repair bay, I think. That'll be handy. In fact, speaking of a repair bay, we're going to rely on our units to defend us. We're going to try and pick up a repair bay as soon as possible. Right, you're building that. Right, as I said, they've got a lot of defences here. So I'm just going to make sure that we're all on the same page. Actually, you know what? Destroy that first, guys. And then we'll all be on the same page with what we need to blow up. They don't have a repair bay. If they have a repair bay, that often becomes primary target number 1. Also, I don't know why. Whenever we destroy a building, that volumetric smoke effect, it tanks my frame rate, something rotten. So, I'm not entirely sure what that's about. I think we're going to need some reinforcements down there. It looks like we've got a Cronus, which is, I believe, our siege ship, I think. So you've got the honour of becoming our Group 3. We're going to use you to come and reinforce over here. Just for now. Number 2, yeah, you are capturing that point nicely. Good job, number 2. Engage. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. So we are just going to take these metal points. Right, we're starting to get our metal up. Enemy dreadnought? Enemy dreadnought, you say? Oh dear. Hang on, enemy dreadnought down there. Right, now we have problems. Now we have trouble. He's actually outflanking me. That ain't good. That ain't good at all. Okay, you, I'm going to need you off that duty there. I'm going to need you down here as fast as possible. You guys, we have a repair bay. I'm going to have my one group stick close to that repair bay, and we're going to get some smart system upgrades out. My engineers might get totaled there. At the moment, they're just going to have to risk it, I'm afraid. Simple as that. And we are also going to want our drone bay. Yes, we definitely want our units. Come on, units. Around there. Number 3, how are you getting on with the battles down here? They've just blown up the factory, hence the frame rate tank. We are going to need to reinforce this with as much as possible, but we do have a dreadnought on the field right now. I don't know where the heck that was coming from. Hello? Right, okay. So we're going to need to get you in here pronto, guys. Pronto. In fact, you are now all Group 3. We may even need to get Group 2 back from up here. It's a distinct possibility. In fact, Group 2, you're going to come and hold the line. Group 1, I'm going to need reinforcements down in the south here. Come on, take it down, take it down. I have superior Tyrannium levels. Well, that's excellent news. That is excellent news indeed. Right, they are actually moving in to try and retake this point. I'm not going to quibble too much about that. So I am, however, going to get a drone bay down. If I can, I'm going to get the repair bay. I'm going to get a couple of sentinel turrets. And I'm going to get my smart systems working. There we go. That should do the job for us. Okay, it looks like we've cleaned up down here. That was a bit horrible. They were obviously after this Tyrannium generator, and then they got greedy. So, yeah. Right, I need an engineer over here right now. So that's going to be working right there. Capturing this point, which is irritating to say the least. Number one, come back and defend the north. Right, we have the advantage. They've just wasted a whole host of units on us, so we're going to push up and see what damage we can deal. At this point, we're probably going to be attacking from multiple directions at once. So 3 is going to be hitting the south, 2 is going to be hitting the middle. I see that engineer there. Take him down, take him down. Damn right. You don't get to do that with me, right? We got another enemy dreadnought coming in. That is a problem. Right, okay, so number 1, you're going to come over here to reinforce. We're going to grab this group. Oh, we've got another group. Fantastic. Number 4, you're up. You're going to come up here and defend our assets, lads. That's what you're going to do. This, however, is nicely bottlenecked. It's getting nicely choked up now. We have lost some of our metal income, and we're a bit close to the enemy's defences for my liking. The Cronus, however, is being destroyed, so they had a siege unit. However, our number 1 group is practically utterly annihilated. Total annihilation. Which group is that? So actually that wasn't our number 1 group, that was our number 2 group. Number 2 group is going to merge with number 1 for a larger army here. And I want this recap, lads. Until these defences are up, I can't really do a huge amount. You can actually see that they've got some... Are these my repair drones? Or are these my... Or are these enemy drones? I believe they might be repair drones. Can't quite tell. Again, don't have the information I need to make that call. So, you know, right now, like I said, if I could manage... Right, so you guys are okay. If I could manage my engineers better, I would be pushing up. I'd be getting a whole lot more, you know... Can't do that. Okay, can't do that. No, okay, I need that in line of sight. I would be getting a whole lot more... factories up. I'd be, you know, setting up forward operating bases, all that stuff. But at the moment, that's something I just simply cannot do because I find engineers to be such a bloody fiddle. Fiddly engineers, indeed. And we've got some enemy gens here. Number 4's going up to conquer this site. That's great. I could do with that back. Do we have... Right, we're not close to another dreadnought yet. In fact, engineers, you're not doing me any favours by that, because I've not got the metal resources to support that just at the moment. And so when we've got these metal deposits, we should be okay. This engineer's still slowly making his way down. Okay, I don't really care about these southern resources here. I'm probably just going to pincer what's going on at top. Actually, what is happening up... Hang on, what is happening up here? We've got units incoming. Can my drones and everything else sorted out? Absolutely, they can. And they've completely ignored... Or have they completely ignored mine? No, just the repair drones are repairing the engineer. That's fantastic. I love it. Okay, so we're actually going to make a push. Make a push on this point. There's number 2... Right, technically this is still group 2 as well, which is a bit odd. But never mind, we'll just live with that. Number 4, you're going to make a push up the north over to here. And hopefully, very soon, we're going to have new Group 2 out, and that'll be the game in our favour at that point. So here's new Group 2, here's my army. We'll push our army up and see what we can do about it. Right, we've got a lot of defences coming from this side. I want to know what that's all about. You know, they're slowly chipping away at my units. We've got an enemy army here that I really don't care about. So 4, I want you to come this way. There's a good lad. Have we got any more metal down here that we can acquire? Not really. You guys you can get back on that duty there.
Dreadnought taking damage.
Dreadnought taking damage? Oh no! Which one? Okay, I'm not entirely sure why this group is splitting up quite as much as it is, if I'm perfectly honest. But as you can see, there is a heck of a lot of travel time in this game. You really do need to... I haven't done it here, it's true. You need to scout first, know what you're about to run headlong into, and then sort it out. I mean, I haven't used any air units either in this game. I've kept it pretty simple. I'm sure it's something you could do very, very happily. In fact, I'm going to pull these units back because I'm taking a lot of flak from this hillside here. So I'm going to pull these units back a bit just so I can keep my forces. And look what we got here. We've got a two-pronged assault. This is going to be horrible for the opponent, and I'm nearly at 2k VPs. It's excellent. It's excellent. If they have a repair... Now, is this a repair bay? Right, the repair bay, that is primary target numero uno. Because otherwise, the defences that they're shooting will just... You know, they're just going to continue to be... you know, repaired. There we go. There's going to be a lot of... I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of FPS drops in this area of the video. Have we? Oh, these are factories. So is the repair bay gone? Right, the repair bay is gone. Yeah, these are being absolutely annihilated. I say spiritual successor to Supreme Commander and Total Annihilation. That is exactly what we're doing here. These guys, however, yeah, these guys need to flee. In fact, we've now got number 2 coming back. Number 2 is going to bring up the rear here. In fact, they're going to get... These guys are going to get together. 2 is going to be an absolute... Oops. Crap. Didn't mean to do that, however. That's number 1. Right. I've actually cocked up my groupings. Right. This is an army.
We have captured a generator.
Right. Yeah, okay, I've actually locked these in as one singular army, which was not what I was intending to do, but it'll be enough to finish this off. Obviously, there is still a bug there that kind of needs to be sorted. Let's see if we can blow up the enemy's main base before this game is drawn to a close. Overwhelming firepower, that's what we're going to do here. Look at all these units. They've been churning out sort of regular units like there's no tomorrow, but they are going to be no match for the battleships that are coming in now. These are area dominance battleships. These things are just toast. They are just toast right now. We'll just get our battleships to go straight towards the enemy base, and they don't stand a chance. So that is pretty much game over, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, so this has been a preview video, one that I was definitely not expecting to do. So so there are a few more details with the game. Obviously, there is a development roadmap that you can find on the Steam page. I highly suggest that you look at that to see what's coming. A second race will be coming at some point during the early access pre-beta period. We will be having a campaign mode at some point. There will also be a ranked seasonal. According to the roadmap, there'll be a multiplayer ranked season. And who knows, I may even just give that a go. I may just go in just for fun and have my arse utterly handed to me. And I think we're going to take down the main base. Are we going to take down the main base? Possibly just before we... Oh, this is close. No, we're going to win on VPs before we take down the base. What a shame. Ah, it wasn't quite total annihilation, but it was very, very close. So let's just have a look at the summary. You know, we can see all sorts of good stats. We can see our economy, and we even have graphs, which is fantastic. I do like graphs. So yeah, this has been a preview of... Ashes of the Singularity. I nearly said Supreme Commander. But no, I honestly believe there's enough game in here. This is very much in the vein of that sort of grand scope real-time strategy as Supreme Commander. However, I think that with the unit customization and sort of the pacing of it, which, I mean, it's slow, but I actually quite like it. It does give you that sort of macro strategic feel. I feel this... If the devs play it right... There is enough here for this game to stand very much on its own. I'm eager to see the orbital layer. I'd like to see refinement with the air units, which I'm sorry I didn't show off today. There are some things coming, like I said, there will be things coming down the development roadmap along with the multiplayer online season. We'll be getting a second race, we'll be getting other missing features, you know, added. And there are also already DLC plans. They've got a roadmap for where they want to go after the game has been launched, including naval units and ocean biomes. We're going to have aggressive neutrals, and that's inverted commas, because we don't even know what those are going to be. Apparently it's going to be exciting, but they want to keep hush-hush about what aggressive neutrals actually means. and there will be a third race at some point. Apparently they're going to be adding a lot of modding support, so that you've got that to look forward to as well. And I think finally I need to mention that this game is currently 20% off until November the 5th, at which point it will be retailing for full RRP. Sans sales, that it's going to be pretty much, I think, if I understand correctly, going for the cost it'll be going for. And that cost sale price is £27.99, or your regional equivalent, and full price will be £34.99. So, loads of links in the description. You'll find, the game website. You'll find everything else you need down there, including a link to the store page. My name has been ChromeDrake. This has been a preview of Ashes of the Singularity, and if you follow me this far, thank you very much indeed, you guys, for joining me. It means a great deal. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like. If you want to get in touch with me, feel free to leave a comment. I will get back to you. And all that remains to be said is great health, good gaming, and catch you in the next one. Goodbye for now, guys.